All right, guys, today we're feeding rabbit and chicken. First, I'm gonna start out with a rabbit. I'm gonna make sure we're gonna chop it up into smaller pieces because I am gonna put it in a grinder. Some of you are probably gonna be saying, what do you mean grinder? You usually feed raw to your dogs. This is correct, but rabbits may carry something called listeria. And listeria affects pregnant females. In fact, if they're pregnant, listeria can make them unpregnant. This particular recipe is actually very good for pregnant females, but in my opinion, it is best to give it cooked just to make sure you're not running a risk of anything. Not saying that the rabbit has it, just taking the appropriate precautions. Right now, we're just chopping the rabbit down to the smallest of pieces because I bought myself a newer, smaller grinder. That's the Heart, by the way. And we're gonna be throwing this into that little grinder to see how well it holds up, just so it could be more practical. I've had a lot of you reach out to me saying that the $1,100 grinder I have is a bit too expensive or too clumsy or too big for your area. So we're gonna try out this new smaller grinder. Only cost about $200. I'll put on the screen where I got it from in Amazon. And again, I'm showing you the meats here, the cuts of the meat. There's very little fat. Rabbit is really high in protein. In fact, if you only ate rabbit, say for 2 or 3 months, you probably would get protein toxicity because it's straight protein what is shooting in. So we're gonna mix the rabbit, like I said earlier, with some chicken. As you can see, this is the grinder we're gonna be using. We're gonna put the rabbit through the grinder first and then the chicken. Let me show you the brand. It is 1U brand. And again, I'm giving you the link so you can get it in Amazon if that's what you like. And essentially, you're just putting the meat through, you're pushing it down with this little push down stick, if that's what you wanna call it, and it comes out the other end. It's really that simple and effective. Some may ask where I got the rabbit. I actually got it from a local farmer. In fact, let me show you what he's got to say about this.
It makes the chicken stronger, and it works as long as you can't have the bottom of whatever your coop is. It can't be on concrete, because if that bottom was on concrete,
yeah,
then the pee, the ammonia, that would mess everything up.
Okay.
Because it's all built on ground, then you don't have the smells. I don't
right,
think
the ammonia gets consumed by what's on the ground.
And then the manure's there. So these are what we raise. We raise tamuks, and they are meat rabbits. We do raise them for meat. She's still small, so she's gonna get about 2 more pounds.
Usually, how old are they before you put them down?
We process them about 5 pounds.
At 5 pounds?
They grow till 10. You'll see that boy, he's close to 10.
How many weeks or months is that?
I think that it's close to 4 months.
4 months, okay.
Them, yeah.
Got you.
But it's the cheapest protein. I think them and quail, Paternix quail, are the cheapest protein to raise.
And this is completely non-GMO, you were telling me.
Yeah, it's a corn soy-free operation. We use H&H's feed. It's a local feed here. We also sell it. H&H, the cool thing about being local is it's milled every other week for us. So it's fresh.
You're getting
milled.
it fresh,
And usually if you go to the store, your feed is about 3 months old. No matter if you go to Costco, buy probably the dog food and stuff, that by the time it gets to the store, it's usually about 2-3 months old. That's why fresh eggs are so awesome, because you're from yesterday, right?
Right.
Store eggs are usually about 1 month old, 2 months old. And
Wow.
you lose a lot of nutrition in time, right? Like the fresh food, you were talking about actually fresh dog food and fresh chicken, raw food.
Yes.
The cool thing about it is because it's fresh, right?
Yes.
The nutrition's still there.
Yes.
Because it's
time sensitive.
You could buy it from us when we process on Saturdays and Sundays. It was never frozen. It was 2 days.
Okay, well, I just found out.
You can watch me do it.
I just found out you do it. So what's the name of this farm?
True Southland Farm.
True Southland Farm?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been here?
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
We got crazy about food.
Okay.
And we bought our farm.
What is this location? So anybody that's living around this area wants to come visit you?
12241 Nicholson Road, Conroe, Texas. 77303.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure I put it on the screen, man.
Yes,
but it's amazing, man. I appreciate you letting me walk around your farm, videoing a little bit, and we're definitely taking a rabbit because we're gonna be feeding our dogs rabbit today.
Yes, sir.
What is your name again?
Val.
Val. Thank you so much, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
Uh-huh.
it out. We got us some emus. We're not done with the recipe. We're gonna go ahead and get ourselves a piece of pumpkin. It's about 2 inches wide. We're gonna go ahead and chop it up and throw it into our stew. By the way, if you've noticed, that's a fish knife. So don't get kitchen instructions from me as far as what utensils to use appropriately or anything like that. And yes, we're gonna cook rabbit and rabbit special food, carrots, right? We're just gonna chop up 3 little carrots and throw it in there. Guys, keep in mind these ingredients we're adding right now, you could switch them up. Right now, I'm just trying to make sure they're getting fiber and they're getting a high protein content. Now, I didn't mention this, but I already chopped up the chicken and put it through the grinder. 2 pounds of chicken already in there mixed with the rabbit. We just threw some kale in there. That's about 3/4 of a cup's worth. And I'm cutting about a cup's worth of cilantro. We're throwing it in there. We don't want any doggy breath or anything like that. Yep, and here's where using a fish cutting knife really doesn't help when you're trying to get everything to go into the pot. Now, as far as cooking, I just pressed stew on my Instapot and bam, just like that, it was done. 35 minutes later, smelling phenomenal. Literally looking like it was on one of them food shows. Really good. The smell is great. Now, the only thing I do want to make sure is that the pumpkin is well cooked all the way through. And as you can see, I barely press on it. And then also the carrots. And once we see that that's like that, we're set and ready to go. I told you guys earlier that we're feeding this to our pregnant females. That's why I'm cooking it. However, you can actually prepare this, whether raw or cooked, and you can feed it to your dogs if you're trying to build muscle, or if they're working line dogs and you're working them for a good amount of time during the day. In addition to that, you could also mix it into kibble. It's only going to be a better, higher quality protein than whatever kibble can offer. Could always cut up some pumpkin pieces like this and just give them to your dogs along with what you're feeding. Remember that raw pumpkin is for probiotic purposes. So if your dog has, say, diarrhea, you want to give it to them cooked so that you can give more consistency to the stool. If your dog is constipated, then you want to give it to them like this.